This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, that's all it counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Hey, folks. Welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd. Here we have Real Slaughter. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Just here to review one of the greatest shows ever. And, you know, talk about some excellent stuff. The feelings restored. Greensboro, North Carolina, a building that James and I are very familiar with through our college basketball fandom, wrestling fandom, all that. I wanted to be there very badly, but it would have been absolutely irresponsible of me to do so. But yeah, man, it was an all-timer.
So when it first was announced, I was like, I'm going to go. And then the tickets sold so fast that I was like, the only way I'm going to be able to get a ticket is on resale. And I don't want a cheap seat, right? So I was like, oh, I guess I'll add on that one. And then I want to say, was it Thursday or was it Wednesday? Lyric Wrestling posted a tweet saying that she had another ticket. And I sent it to you. I was like, which one of us is going to get this ticket? which one of us is going to get this ticket and pay the money to go to the fucking mountains of North Carolina where they ain't shit around and they have to pay for an overpriced flight to get to the fucking Greensboro airport because it's a shitty airport, or by shitty I mean small. And then I was like, I looked at the prices for the flying in the Greensboro, and I was like, nah, man, let me see what Charlotte hitting for. Charlotte, it was cheaper. Okay, how far is it? I gotta get a rental. That ain't worth it. Atlanta, same thing. Atlanta, same thing. Like, you know what?
Atlanta, like a 5-hour drive.
Right. And I was like, it just ain't meant to be. It just ain't meant to be. I'll just watch it. I'll just watch it at home. I will say this. I did have some who flies to Greensboro? I mean, ACC teams that are there for the ACC tournament every year. That's it. That's why it exists. If not for the ACC tournament and NWA and Jim Crack Promotions, that shit might just be a hangar, not an airport.
That shit might as well be like, you know how they say flyover country? Like, that's just like drive-through country. Right, yeah, we trying to get to DC and we trying to get to Georgia or Florida.
Yeah. Like, I saw, like, while watching the show, like, they're looking, spots that are, especially because of Darby. Shout out to Darby for, being up on that ladder. I keep seeing, like, the banners for, like, I see Florida State, I see Duke, I see Clemson or whatever. I was like, wow, they keep them up year round because what else is there to have up there? But yeah, man, this was an incredible show, and I have some extra commentary to give from my little cousin Kay and I. Actually, this was the first time I ever like watched any live wrestling show around my
cousin
Kay, who's 11 years old, and I gotta say, like, he loved the nicknames. He loves the American Dragon. He loved that nickname. He was like, they're hitting each other so hard. He believed in what was happening with Kingston and Danielson. We'll get into it. But I thought it was a great show. I had tons of fun. I didn't really pay close attention to like the first 3 matches or something like that. But after that, I really had a lot of fun, especially the last 3 matches.
Yeah.
And it felt like they finally, did the right thing as far as saying, hey, the 3 matches you care about the most are going to be at the end. As opposed to trying to...
And shout out to all of them for taking the challenge, too, because, like, you look at the world title match, right? You're going on before Sting, who, at this point, everybody's waiting for that main event. And then you're going after Ospreay and Takeshita. We already knew what that was about to be, and then that shit, goes off. Like, taking the challenge, like, and balling out and doing something in their own unique way to stand out. I thought it was really a... like a line in the sand type show, like
sink or swim,
like where it was like, yeah, man, the energy has shifted, the energy has changed. Ospreay has come in here and has set the level. I think, like, yo, if you're not willing to go in there and compete at this level, and then the world title match right after it as well, and then like with the Young Bucks and Sting and Darby in the main event, it's like, this is like the shit like that's gonna get you on these shows, like unless there's some other agenda that requires you to get on there. Like, but like this roster's too good, it's too deep, and these shows, how often they this was not World's End, like where I don't know what happened with World's End really, but.
Well, I mean, it got blown up a little bit because of the Golden Jets thing and Omega's health. It got blown up to an extent,
Yeah, it got blown up. It got, we don't have an MJF main event at the end of the, show. Right. There's like a lot of factors where it felt like, yo, this is the AEW that they're capable of being. And that can be any night they want to. They have, like, I saw a Darby Allin versus Jay White announced, right?
Mm.
And I was like, yeah, that's going to be a nice match right there.
Yeah.
And then I thought to myself, I was like, they have 100 combos of these, like literally, like I could just reach and I could literally pull a goddamn bag out, put everyone's name in it from the roster, grab 2 names and get an incredible match pretty much 9 out of 10 times.
Rich, Guevara's not on the show. Darby was in the main event. Like, think of how many people they have not wrestled singles match with that were in the Continental Classic.
Right.
And that's just Darby and Guevara, right? Let's throw in Phoenix, who hasn't wrestled most of those people. Let's throw in Kyle O'Reilly, has wrestled most people. Roddy, that hasn't wrestled most people. Like, this is like what WWE like feared in a way, or was concerned about when like New Japan got very popular in 2015, and then there was just a collection of talent that like wasn't signed up to WWE at the time, that was on that, no television time, but were veterans, experienced, crafted their trades amongst American indies. And that's why Triple H and Vince and all of them said, let's sign all these guys up and put them in the warehouse. And they staved off a lot of it, right? They staved off a lot of it with, AJ Styles off the table, Nakamura off the table. New Japan never really figured it all out until it was too late and AEW got started. But like, it was 4 years had passed, and then like so many of the American guys were signed to WWE and NXT, floundering on the main roster after having a year to 2 year run on NXT or whatever else, and all that kind of stuff. And then like the Elite and Tony Khan and Chris Jericho and John Moxley, just being disillusioned with WWE at the end of his wit's end, more or less helped save American Pro Wrestling outside of WWE. Maybe saves too hard, but like basically blew it up to a level that it had never been before. And I am very, very grateful for this show. And I was going to save this like for the Sting part, but like seeing the Sting part, man, like I'm so fucking happy that this thing exists. And like, not only do I want this for Sting and happy I got it, like I want this for the other legends that are still around and still have made names for themselves outside of WWE, even if they have a notable WWE run, I want them to leave WWE and then get this same thing for themselves. AJ Styles, you need to leave and get this for yourself. Rey Mysterio Jr., you need to leave and get this for yourself. You fucking deserve it. I was over the moon after this. I really was. It was one of the happiest, maybe the happiest I've been with pro wrestling since I left Japan.
Yeah, sure. It was so many people trying to make a statement and carve real estate, and it felt like I had put some words out there, trying to ask around what the vibe was like, backstage. It was like no toxicity, tons of legends were around, giving great advice to people, putting the young guys over, just a great feeling backstage. And I think that stuff translates to the ring, I think. And when this shit's firing on all cylinders, like, they're going to rewrite the history of match or show quality in this country and anywhere else. Really, like, there's enough older guys that can still hang. There's enough 40-year-old guys that can still hang. There's enough 30-year-old guys that can still hang. Then we start talking about the sub 30-year-old guys. Like, This promotion's set up on every level to just consistently give you just great wrestling. Like, and I couldn't be more proud to be a fan of this company, especially like seeing like how they handle Sting. And Sting, it was never about being undefeated for Sting. We didn't really necessarily like care about that. Like, it was just like, I
never thought about it until the graphic came. I was like,
until it happened.
Holy shit, he is 28. He is 28-0. Huh.
Yeah, and it's like, all right, cool. And then like he wins, and it's like perfectly fine. Like, and like they're bringing his kids in there. They're dressed up, in different versions of him. I thought it was nice that the video that they played ahead of the match, and just the dignity, I think, that Sting, was handled with throughout this whole time. They didn't try to embarrass him. They treated him like a real live, like, legendary figure, and really, I think, made people reconsider Sting's career, what he's meant. We kind of talked about it last week, with like, he's always been the alternative, like someone there that represents that, like, and I think I saw Adam from Big Audio Nightmare who was talking about, this is a win for Jim Crockett Promotions and WCW and their fans, like, that were basically had to live the last 20, 25 years with this bastardized version of their history that was owned by, a rapist.
Right. It was only done, and it was only given like half decent tributes by a guy that spent most of his career trying to break guys that were coming in from WCW after WCW shut down. Like, WCW killed Triple H. Like, Triple H is the only person in that company that bothered to give any of a fuck about Jim Crockett Promotions in WCW. The only one.
And this night, like, it was like the rise of the Terminators with like, we back, like, WCW wrestling, Crockett Promotions, like, anybody that was a fan through that. You saw all the old guys. You saw Matt MTA, Ricky Steamboat there, Nikolai Volkov sitting there. Lex Luger was getting rolled around. They didn't show him on camera, but they saw like pictures of Lex out there. It just felt, it was such a special night, and I saw a question that was in the pile about who would get the next one of these, and you mentioned some great names like AJ Styles, Rey Mysterio.
Oh, I got one. It was mentioned in here that I didn't mention, but I got one. I was going to mention it because of where we are as far as his career and everything. And it's like, hey, man, like, sooner or later, next 2-3 years, just might need to take it to Winnipeg, get Jericho one of these.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he has another type of renaissance in him. Maybe, but if he doesn't, he needs to look towards getting out sooner than later.
I was going to say, like, Sting, like, they don't make the quality of people like Sting that is going to have that kind of approval like that. As great as Jericho is, doesn't have that approval like across, whatever, for whatever reason.
I mean, forget what happened earlier this year, but like, his politics is all over the place, right? And then you have the part where, the Benoit stuff where he's still like there to uplift there to try to preserve the legacy of his murdering friend. Like there's a lot with Jericho. There's a lot, good and bad. Yeah. And that makes it complicated because people, want to just quickly dismiss people off of not being perfect or whatever they're, or being quote unquote like completely unproblematic. And like, that's not how people are, because that's not human nature. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
And like with Sting, it's like, like Zach Maki brings up, Sting is in a rare company like Terry Funk. People only have good things to say about you. I wish Bret Hart could have got one of these. Same. I wish like, it's like you don't really know who is going to be like that. We don't know when the next one is going to be. So like, these guys are still writing a lot of their stories, and it's a lot, man. Like we did.
I guess in the realistic theory, I guess you would say it would be Danielson, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna retire. So like he's I
think he'll always be AEW or whatever else, but I don't. But as far as like his in-ring career, who knows?
Yeah. So yeah, let's get to it, man. Opening match. I guess we go to bottom to the top.
Yeah. Opening match, the TNT title match. Christian Cage versus Daniel Garcia. Now you had to talk me about this because I was working a grill as this match was going on, so I wasn't really paying close attention. My mind was divided with like trying not to burn the house down. So
yeah, this was like Daniel Garcia actually versus the entire unit. So it was like Mother Wayne was stationed in one corner, Luchasaurus was stationed elsewhere, Nick Wayne was out there, and he almost fought them all off, but Nick Wayne was still there. Daddy Magic came out and fought Luchasaurus off. It was thoughts on the pre-show. All right, give me 1 second on that. The match, like, it was cool. Like I thought it was kind of an old school match. Good work. Garcia was real over. I think the crowd would have went ape shit if he would have won. I was ready for him to win. But they're sticking with Christian here because they're going to Canada rather soon, so they'll probably have another match on him and Copeland. I'm ready for someone to beat Christian now. The gimmick has heat with me now. So I'm done with it at this point. But like it was like just on that, the way they did like the interference and all that, it was like
it's great.
All right, it was like, all right, man, y'all not that far away from House of Torture. Like it's a slippery slope y'all playing with. So I wanted Garcia to win. So Garcia not winning there.
For Garcia to win.
Yeah. So it was cool. It was a good match, but not the thrilling opener, but it still was an over match, I would say.
Okay.
As far as the pre-show, what do we have? That 12-man match was a disaster. I think that was simply, hey, we know we didn't put Jay White on the card, so we're just gonna give him a win, here. But everything else was there. Then the women's match also, I wasn't too much of a fan of it. I just have a real problem with watching Sky Blue and Julia Hart stand toe to toe with Willow and Statlander,
without any storyline explanation for how they was able to do it,
and like slug it out with them, and like it's not like they trying to use like their quickness or athleticism.
Right. That would be
they're just wrestling the match.
No, that's it. That's the explanation for how you explain it. Like, okay, you get an injury on one of the larger wrestlers, or they're able to outmaneuver them or out technique them to overcome the size and strength advantage.
Yeah, but they just like
basic storytelling.
Look, they just sitting there trading. I'm like, bro, if they were men, they would never do this. Like, it's like, how do I believe Julia Hart slugging it out with Statlander? I can't go that far with you. Like, and it's not like
Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax last weekend, like Nia had to figure out, had to go into the toolbox to outmaneuver the giant. That's how, or the monster. That's how pro wrestling works.
I made this point, and people are like, "Well, what about Riho?" I'm like, "You mean the person that's like a speedy dynamo who has a bunch of technique, and then like does the one goofy thing of the dragon suplex? Sometimes I'll live with that. Like when you trade everything.
Did someone
else
actually reply with, "What about Riho?" Really?
I was having a conversation. Someone mentioned Riho, but I was like, "Look, no."
Oh, who is it? Is this somebody I know?
I don't remember. It might have been in Discord. Not sure.
Okay, well, that person, like, the whole entire story of Riho is through speed, athleticism, and being able to do things that, like, not really is seen over here in women's wrestling, is how she's able to, like, get her larger opponents, like, off tilt or on tilt. And, whatever. We lose recipes, man. Like, I don't know. I don't know, man. Go ahead. Sorry, continue.
But yeah. So like as far as that, and then
Slash Thighs. That's an outrageous name. But shout out to Slash Thighs. Julia Hart and Sky are not Riho. Exactly. You're very very astute in your observation. Slash Thighs. Thank you.
I will say that Jeff Jarrett doing the Fargo Strut, the 7-man Fargo Strut with the entire unit of Private Party, Jay Lethal, Willie Mack, and Satnam Singh was among the 5 funniest things I think I've seen in wrestling this year. Jeff Jarrett rolling with all these brothers, that's just hilarious. Like they step away from handing Jeff Jarrett a do-rag, and they do, I'm a scream.
I have nothing.
When does Jeff retire? When do we bring Jeff to Memphis? And rent out the Mid-South Coliseum or wherever the hell that, whatever building it is there.
I think what they would do is they would go to the Louisville Stadium. I think it's called the Yum Arena or some shit like that. It's some goofy name. Cause it used to be Papa John's, but it ain't Papa John's no more. Cause Papa John's, we had to rescind those naming rights. But, actually, what I'm talking about, it's Yum Arena because of KFC. I'm tripping. I'm sorry. But yeah, I don't think they would sell that many tickets if they were to put it under the promotional thing of it's Jeff Jarrett's last thing, because one, they from that area, they don't believe it, and two, it's Jeff Jarrett. It's not Sting. You made me shit on this. Not this is your fault. You brought it up, so I have to swat it down. That's on you.
Singles match for the Continental Crown.
Can they take it to the Louisville Gardens? Does that still exist?
Nah, that's where the Young Bucks got to retire. So up next, we got a singles match for the Continental Crown Championship. Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson. And man, between this match and the post match and it lining up with our preview, this was like... That's
exactly how we described it as, yeah?
Yes, it was like, this is the perfect like mid-card, like, not even like, all right, it is a mid-card storyline or something like that, right? It's just like, all right, it's not for the world title, but it's for something else. And it's not even necessarily about the belt they're fighting over, right? It's like, oh yeah, that's on the line too. But what's on the line was respect. And then like Bryan Danielson, this ace genius wrestler, missing the people kind of part of this thing with Kingston. And then he's like, yo, I actually should have respected this dude a long time ago. And it was in the middle of the fight. It hit me, but he still had to compete and act like, he still had to try to win or whatever. But like at the end of the day, Kingston actually did reach his potential, even if it took him, a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I thought this was sensational. Like this blew me the fuck away. I thought about the build up and, the Eddie Kingston is a bum stuff and all that stuff. And it was just like, yeah, he wore it. He is a bum.
He owned it. And like, that also helped drive Danielson mad because he's like, I call this man a bum. I'm disrespecting him and he's owning it. It only burns him up even more.
Yeah. it's like, hold on. When I call him a bum, that doesn't like fuck with him. Like
Right.
what? Like then
Right.
what do I do now? Like
Because the first time they wrestled on pay-per-view, he said the thing about like, there's nothing you can do in the next 20 days that can get you ready, that you squandered in the last 20 years, whatever. And like, you saw how Kingston, like, he walked away and then he, came up next week and talked and gave that promo about how much it hurt him that Danielson said that to him. Like, now, at this point, we're at the point now where it's like, that bothered me because I actually was squandering my potential. Not now, so I'm owning it, right? Like, accountability. Like, Kingston has taken accountability for the past now, and like, he's there to own it. So like, 2 years ago, that would have threw him for a loop, calling him a bum. Not now. Character arcs, character growth.
Yeah, man, this was special. Like, this was like a match that you throw on, right? And that you feel like you learn something about these wrestlers, like, and where they came from, what they're going through, and like possibly like where they're headed after this. Like, a great, like, obviously, like, move for move match, and the actual action in the match was joyous, but crowd was in on this hook, line, and sinker. And then, Kingston ended up getting the win, and he has beat the BCC again. William Regal will not prosper. Yeah, this was just, I love this. Like, this was sensational.
Yeah. So, I missed probably like the first, 4 or 5 minutes of this, but, by the time I sat down or whatever, so I was really enjoying this. And by this point in time, my little cousin Caden, 11 years old, this is my first time sitting down watching live pro wrestling with him. And like, I didn't tell him any backstory, didn't tell him anything. He's just watching the match. And obviously he's watched some WWE, with his mom before. So like, he has his questions about like, I haven't done the whole Santa Claus is a real thing with him, as far as exposing the gimmick, as far as exposing the business yet. But like, I'm pretty sure he knows wrestling ain't on the up and up, right? Like, I think the only other thing I ever shown him before this was, the Tam and Julia hair match. Cause he was like, you watch wrestling? What's your favorite match or whatever? I was like, I just like, first thing that came to mind was like that. Obviously it's not my favorite match all the time, but I was like, this was like a month after it happened. So I was like, this. So, he's watching, he's like, Kingston's in so much pain. And while the matches happened, he's like, he really liked Bryan Danielson. And he was talking about how like Kingston like doesn't look the part, right? He's like, he's old, out of shape, and said some other line that was hilarious. But I can't remember. Like, I wanted to remember it because like, I wanted to like, just have my little cousin shit on Dan's favorite wrestler, Dan Cobb's favorite wrestler, but I forgot the line, but it was old, out of shape, or whatever else. But while watching the match, so watching him go through all that pain and persevere, he was like, he started rooting for Kingston, right? Like, he got the magic of wrestling. He was like, this, and then like, as I dropped him off to school this morning, he was like, I told him that there was a match that was better than that match. He was like, really? It was like, I thought that was like the greatest match ever. And I was like, nah, they both had better matches than that, but like, I'm glad you liked it, Caden. But yeah, like, it was just really cool to see, like, Kingston have to deal with that show, putting his amazing, selling skills on display. Them start throwing each other around with the suplexes. And then, like, the part where, like, his arm's so jacked up, like, he has to, like, do the slap brawl with, like, one arm. He has to paintbrush Danielson. It was awesome. I can't wait to rewatch it. And I don't really do rewatches this stage in the game.
Yeah, it's, like, this guy Danielson's on a fucking like warpath to start this year. It's like he knows. It's like he knows. He knows that British man is coming.
Right. He's like, hey man, I need to store this. I need to get this lead. So I can see if I can just stave him off.
That British man is on the way, bruv.
No, what Danielson he do is surround and say, "Hey, Osprey, how about we do a little program here?" And
you gotta add them in.
Whatever lead I got stays. Whatever you gain, I keep the distance.
All-Star Scramble match: Wardlow versus Chris Jericho, Powerhouse Hobbs, Lance Archer, Hook, Brian Cage, Magnus, and Dante Martin. I thought this was a mess.
You had to go through this one because I like the oohing and on from Caden, and like I was like, I gotta watch this or whatever else. Like I just took the burgers off the grills. Like I can watch this, but then like this happened. I was like, all right, let me just assemble this stuff and get this ready because it's about time. It's almost his bedtime, like an hour or so. But so you got to tell me about how all this went. I got to go rewatch this for sure.
I think Dante Martin had his worst night in the company.
Really? He broke his leg.
Well, like, you know.
Okay. Minus devastating
division.
injury. Okay.
Yeah, non-injury division. Like he was messing, moves up left and right. A lot of big guys in this thing moving around. So it wasn't like, the theme of a scramble match. If you guys haven't ever watched scramble matches, is moves, baby, in and out, trading off. But like,
right.
It just never quite like remember I talked just earlier in the show. I was like, yeah, man, you have all these fucking combinations and shit. This was not one of them combinations. It was like, yeah, you could have put a lot of different people in here and it would have like went off. And I really can't say anything too memorable. I think Hook strikes looked terrible again. There was a part where him and Jericho were facing off, right? And the crowd really didn't react. I was like, I saw a comment. It was like 2 years ago, this stare down gets like, ooh, when they go face to face. It did not. But Jericho, I noticed, like, I think Hook could stand to work with Chris Jericho because when Chris Jericho, like, started chopping him and, like, rocking him and knocking him the fuck back, it was almost like Jericho was like, hey, snap into it, man. Like I'm gonna fucking hit you. You need to hit me back or whatever. And what do you have? Bring it out of you. And I don't think it brought out a Hook right there. So I would recommend they do that as a program. But
do you think they regret not sticking with the Meat match? Because I saw a point where I saw all the big guys in the ring together, where they had basically threw out all the small guys, and then I guess they went to work, but I wasn't.
I think the meat thing is a meme that reached its shelf life during this match. During that part where all those big guys were in there, it was like, oh, okay, it's just this, and then it's like it seems like almost a parody of like the natural way it arose. Before it was like they were chasing a moment rather
Hobbs
than
in Miro, right?
Yeah, it was like they were trying to chase like an inorganic kind of moment here, and it didn't hit all the way for me. And then like the small guys got in and did the same sequence. It was like, yeah, it's mini meat, and then I'm like, nah, man, this ain't hitting on nothing. There were people that liked this match, and I think in the building it actually got over, but I thought it was entirely too sloppy. And Wardlow going over, I was like, oh. I know what the main event, or I know what the world title result's about to be in big business. So,
it's it's actually official.
That's what it just kind of what I'm.
That's what you're assuming. Then again, you got a week. You can still promote it and do the whole face to face thing with Joe and Wardlow. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so yeah, wasn't a fan of the scramble, and then just wasn't a fan.
Okay.
And they kind of like killed the crowd a little too.
I kind of noticed that when I finally was able to sit down and this is around the time I got to the next match, and I was like, this crowd's not really into this match in the way compared to how it looks, and that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
AEW International Championship match, champion Orange Cassidy versus Roger Strong, and Orange Cassidy has his ribs all taped up and everything. I think there was a beatdown on Rampage or Collision. Which one was it?
One more time.
Roddy put what do you call it? Put his backbreaker move on him on the floor. Was that?
I think it was on Collision.
Okay, yeah, on the basically the go home show before his pay per view, and he's all taped up and everything. And I just saw, like Roddy just shut off all his water. And just went to town on his back, light him up, and obviously Cassidy mounts a comeback, but ultimately just was not enough. There was no more gas left in that tank, and the car stalled out, and Roddy finished him off.
Yeah, this was just like a 70-30 match, just a beatdown, pretty much. Exciting beatdown, I'll say. Like, Roddy brought his trademark explosiveness. Even as he's getting into his 40s, he hasn't slipped at all. Like the hair is a little gray, you can see, but like
the mustache is still fucking absurd.
Like the intensity's there, so it's like if this can pivot to more of an in-ring thing, he could have some pretty good matches in this thing. Especially, we get the return of Kyle O'Reilly pops up. Kind of didn't really recognize him at first. I saw the hair, I was like, "Who is that?" Like, and
you used to Kyle O'Reilly. You used to have a little cut, the one.
Yeah,
he used to have the one.
This nigga showed I'm going to look like white Jesus. So
the Kyle O'Reilly that originally was the one that was out here at the same barbershop. It's like it's Kyle O'Reilly, it's Daniel Garcia, and they both going to see Dominicans and cut hair.
Yeah. So O'Reilly comes out. I'm like, yo, he looks rough. Like, I'm like, hey, bro, when you gone for like a year plus, like, come back looking like a star, Kyle. Can please? Can we get like a flashy jacket or some sneakers or something? Give me something.
Do you remember Jeezy standing ovation when he said, "I remember nights I didn't remember nights"?
Yes.
Kyle O'Reilly, like, he ain't slept so long, he remembers nights, he don't remember nights. And like, he ain't slept in weeks. And look, when on that side, I was like, oh, I know that feel, and I feel, because I felt that way with my insomnia. Like, you just like, bro, you just feel like you just a zombie. You look like a zombie. But yeah, I'm glad he's back. And he is like physique-wise, he did look like he's put on some weight as far as muscle. So, whatever. Like, I know he's been working hard. Like, every blue moon, he would post stuff about how he's been, like, working on his neck, working on all sorts of things and everything. So, like, glad to see he's back. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. And, like, him and Roddy, like, I need them linked together forever. Like, they're one of my favorite tag team runs ever from anybody. So, if they link up, had a match with each other, it'd be great. If they're a tag team, great. I just want to see whatever happens. And, like, if they can distance themselves away from the United Kingdom, that would make me very happy.
Yeah, I was encouraged when Roddy didn't join
Undisputed Kingdom. I did the same mistake that Tunnel Talk did. My bad. It's contagious.
Yep. So, Slash Thighs wanted to know my thoughts on this tweet from SRS. Apparently, Andrade wrestled on Raw tonight. So, the time between the start of Andrade's entrance and the start of the match, 9 minutes. Time of the match, 3 minutes. He chose his lot in life. Hopefully he's happy.
Look, his wife's there. It is what it is. It's a good job. Either way he was at, he's doing a good job. From my fandom, I would like him to stay in AEW doing stuff like he was doing in the Continental Classic. But, it's a good job. Wherever he's at, it's a good job.
Yeah.
This ain't there. Whatever.
Yeah. He chose. So, it'll make room for somebody. But yeah, up next, we got the Blackpool Combat Club taking on taking on FTR. This one started off pretty slow, I thought. And,
buddy.
And it was like, hey, man. Like, I was like, ain't this like Carolina? Like, shouldn't this crowd be like, up? I was like, yo, the Young Bucks watching this match, rubbing their hands together.
Right. There was at some point during I won't say halfway to maybe 60% of the way through the match where me, you, and Finisher all were like, hey, bro, what the fuck's going on? They're not, nobody's getting heat on anybody. They're not really running any hot tags. They're not running any injury angles. They're just basically like trying to like out calisthenic each other as far as whatever. There's not really a story that's grabbing me or compelling me right now that's happening. They've gone more than 5 minutes doing this. Like, the heat that they've had when they beat each other up is non-existent almost. They're just wrestling a match. And then, I forgot what happened, but like, then the big moves start happening, and it's like, okay, now they finally got into the match. Like, what was these first 5, 6, 7 minutes of this shit? What was this?
Yeah, like, and I think, people don't, like, despite the Blackpool Combat Club spending the last 3 weeks on national television, kicking people in the inseam, in the dick, they're sending mixed messages still, like, because people want to cheer them. They come out with the fucking Road Warrior spikes on, which objectively looks cool or whatever. So it's like, y'all should have just handed the Road Warrior spikes to fucking FTR and let them come out. I know, FTR, it would be some stealing more off the 80s and shit, but it's like, just put that gimmick on top of it. Put a gimmick on top of a gimmick, like a check with a check.
It'll be like, that's what you call it. You put a hat on top of a hat. Yeah, but when you like, you look ridiculous. But no, I mean, to be fair, if they were to put Mox and Big Swiss's shoulder pads on top of them, they would look, they'd be too big, the shoulder pads. So maybe not. I
mean, Cash is a rather jacked individual. I think he would have been able to.
The shoulders aren't as broad. Anyway, I mean, you are right though. The Road Warriors spikes are cool. And I know that because like Raiders fans will wear them in the black hole back when they're still in Oakland. I don't know if they do that in Vegas now, because what's the point of even calling anything a black hole? Look for their fans, because they've relocated. But like, you watch them Georgia football games and you see them pads and those spike pads, and you're like, yep, that's good fandom. So I agree. It look always a cool look. But
Well, so they're just having kind of like that middling match for the first half of it. I think Dax hits the pole and gets up, and his whole shit is split to the white meat.
And even then, I still wasn't feeling it. And then like he was probably bleeding for like 3-4 minutes before I started caring.
Yeah, like it just wasn't hitting like that. I was like,
I forgot what kicked into gear, but until they kicked into gear, I was ready to look. I felt like Draymond Green talking to Paul Pierce. They don't really love you like that, man. You chasing a moment that don't exist because they don't really love you like that. And he was trying to bleed it in the Greensboro Coliseum, thinking it was gonna be some big deals. Like, nah, bro, we here to see Sting, not you.
Yeah.
You just from the state. You just from the state.
You from the area.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I forgot what it was happening in the gear. Oh, they got in the ring.
Turn around, though.
No. They started finally trading in the ring chops in forearms, and that's when the crowd woke up, because it's like they were just doing the regular wrestling as opposed to the thing that got people to even care about what they were doing the last 2-3 weeks was like them beating the shit out of each other. They were like, oh yeah, let's just do that, and then everything woke. And then the big moves started happening. It was like, this should have started the match.
Yeah, they should just wailed on each other. You know, that wide ass swing that Cash be doing. That's what they need to do. Just wail on each other.
Right. And it's like, I don't know what happened, because it's like, normally when Dax is in singles matches, that's what he does. That's why he has good matches all the time. Right? And it's like, I don't know. Maybe it was like, this is a tag team thing, and like, we only have, we're trying to space this out, and we don't know how to like make this work in that, whatever. Like, their whole idea from the whole entire idea of how to structure this match just was wrong. And they maybe in a different situation it works better. It wasn't for tonight. It did not work. It just didn't. The crowd was just like, they were sitting on their hands the whole time. And the only thing that kept them going was like, they realized they got quiet, got self-conscious, started chanting FTR, BCC, back and forth.
Yeah. It did turn around towards the end though, and then it was a thrilling finish with FTR getting that ass.
Yeah, the ending was great.
Waiting until Floyd Johnson pulled up in person and then putting FTR to sleep in front of him. Couldn't really think of a better way for that match to end, personally.
Yeah. It's not over, because they made eyes with each other at the end, like it ain't over. And I gotta say, like, this is the worst like Mox and Claudio versus FTR match that I've seen, because the matches that they've had before were all way better, including that final battle match they had at the end of last year.
Yeah. I saw a great tweet from Trish, and she was like, chemistry's not for everyone. Like it it seemed like it just wasn't linking up. But
it's weird because they've shown them a chemistry until this.
I'm gonna say I'm glad you mentioned it. I was like, man, I feel like Mark Briscoe needs to be in here to really make this thing pop off, because
in Danielson,
I ain't like, look, Adam Danielson ain't gonna make nothing worse, right. But like Mark Briscoe,
like maybe Danielson just tricked us the whole time.
Like, hey, these BCC niggas actually bums. Like,
can you imagine? But I will say this: at the end, like, all the great moves, great kickouts, great near falls, great teasing of submissions, and over and over and over again. Claudio was out here making play after play while not being legal man. It was like, this is like the reason why tag team wrestling at times can be awesome is like, on any level, like if you have like somebody making plays for you, showing like great displays of desperation, or like seeing what was happening beforehand to make things work in your way. Like I don't like this. It just reminded me like a lot of the things I liked about like the TAM title run with the Trios belts in 2021 in Stardom, where it's like she's with two geeks. And like a lot of times, she's not gonna be the person in the closing stretch, but like Tam has to make plays to get like Mina and Unagi, who are not ready to be in the closing stretches in that way to like survive and stave off, that kind of heat, that kind of heavy fire to make plays on the outside. And it was really fun to see like Claudio basically left and right just making plays. It was really fun. Like when he was out here, the European uppercut, the triple jump European uppercut. I think that was what turned the match around, bro. BCC, Danielson, Claudio, Moxley. Aren't we so glad that all of them got the fuck out of WWE? Like, Claudio was always been great, but like, to see him like the week to week just basically just manhandle people because he's the strongest motherfucker alive, it's fun. Moxley goes without saying, one of my favorite wrestlers of the last 5 years. Danielson has like, feels like he's made up for lost time with the, being put away with their first retirement or whatever else, so just hitting the ground running and with just a slew of great matches. Like I'm so glad there's another place. I'm so glad another place, and this is like goes along with the Sting stuff I said earlier.
Crazy. Singles match for the AEW Women's World Championship: Timeless Toni Storm versus Deonna Purrazzo. Snoozer.
You ain't like the pure rules?
Absolutely not.
You didn't like
the most overthinking this match actually didn't happen in the match. It was Mariah May coming out there. People heard the old Toni Storm music. They saw the outfit and they went crazy.
They popped.
Right? They thought, they were like, oh shit, she's done with this timeless shit. And then you look closer and they were like, oh, that's not Toni Storm.
I didn't need to look close. I just looked. I was like, oh, that ain't her.
Correct. I immediately knew it was Mariah May. I was like, there's a difference here between Toni Storm and Mariah May. I'm not going to say what it is on this airwaves, but y'all know what it is. I spotted this immediately. Toni Storm
they are
out.
not. These two women are not shaped the same. They're both blonde. That's it. I was like, okay, unless Toni Storm has ain't no way. That ain't her. Look close. Oh, that's Mariah. Okay, fine, whatever. But yeah, you want to get to the match now?
Yeah. All this technical wrestling and these arm holds and all this shit. It was like they just wanted to get in the ring, roll around like it was an exhibition damn near. Like they was just rolling around in the gym. And Toni Storm I'm ready to get the belt off of her. I'm done with this. All these matches fucking stink. Deonna Purrazzo, I cut her a lot of slack because she's admittedly not had great opponents thus far. You would have think she would have come in here with like sense of urgency to really like try to have a great match. This just did not happen. And I was like, before she came out, I was like, yeah, this is not a baby face. Like the music, the walk, the wrestling style, like, yeah, all this shit. Yeah. And I was like, this is not a baby face. She's about to do this job, and she's turning heel like immediately to be in that factory to work with Mercedes, like to be in that rotation.
So, Rich, not your personal taste. Who are the people that are widely renowned around the world as the best technical wrestlers in the world? Can you just give me a few names?
Bryan Danielson,
that's
Zack Sabre Jr.
That's another one.
Shit.
Okay, how about this? Over the last couple years, who has been regarded as the best technical women's wrestler in the world? From people that watch everything, not just people that only watch here.
Probably Shuri.
Yeah. What do Shuri and Danielson have in common?
They like to kick people.
They'll kick the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Sabre will also PK the fuck out of you, right? Do slaps, all that kind of stuff.
The only time the crowd did crank up was when they started slapping each other.
And I'm getting to it, Rich. If you are going to base your wrestling in 2024 around being a technical wrestler, you have to have the best technical wrestlers do this. There is a strategic like placement of where they put slams, throws, and striking in all of the wrestling, right? You can't just go out there and just reverse holds for however long because what happens, people's eyes will glaze over in boredom. There's a reason why like pro wrestling became a work to begin with, because the grappling was boring to people. I guess they forgot that. So it didn't work out.
This is reverse RLPW right here. This match.
Yeah, it did not work out. And like I don't know what happened. Like they decided to have a pure rules match and included, instead of no closed fist punches, they included no slams or throws. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
I'm not feeling it, man.
They gotta do better.
Yeah, I was disappointed by this, and I was like, man, it's just a black hole on the show. Like, however, pulling us out of that black hole immediately, the Don Callis family showcase, Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita submit a match of the year candidate. My best match of the year right here.
Same.
Above 5 stars. We already know where this is going. I saw this match and it was like, yo, I think I've always said these two, yeah, like this is going to be the new Okada Omega, like these two. And what a hell of a start to that. Like, they were doing shit in this match to where I was just completely forgetting, like, yeah, man, usually when I watch wrestling, I'm chilling. You know, I'm seeing stuff. You know, I know the big moves. I know the spots that are coming typically. You know, I know, oh, there's going to be a cool kick out here or something like that. They had me out the chair, like wondering what the fuck is happening. Like that reversal off from the Oscutter into the Blue Thunder Bomb. I was like, huh? And you know what really got me? Like people were sending up these gifts and shit, and they're doing the bullshit, right, about not selling and
fuck off. Jesus Christ. Have you never watched a real fight when people absorb like ridiculous contact? Fuck.
When Takeshita took that shot and he went on the ground like and sold the fingers, I was like, oh my God, they worked me completely.
Really?
I was like, I've never seen anybody sell like this. And I was like, this is incredible. Like I was like, yo, we're in another galaxy right here. And the hard striking, the precision of all the moves, the explosion, the athleticism, the fucking aura of like Takeshita walking in, Ospreay walking in with the fucking robe on, the new gear, the crowd reacting to him like a motherfucking superstar.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, so this is one of the greatest matches I've ever seen.
Yeah, this is one of the best matches you'll ever get to see. So I'm looking at the chat, and Zach here said the Tua fingers. You remember when Tua was seized up on the ground like 2 years ago? Those same hands. I saw it and I was like, it's a work, but either way, it got some people. So for me, I'm watching it, and it was just so fun. It was just so fun, and like, I think for me was like the whole spot that people are talking about, or the whole sequence people are talking about, where they're like, the B driver, the reverse B driver into the wheelbarrow German, and then Ospreay flips over to his feet, or actually like gets dropped with the wheelbarrow, and then gets to his feet, and then hits the hidden blade, and then Takeshi kicks at 1. Like, bro, I knew it was going to be a kick out. I was like, he's kicking, and then he kicked at 1. I was like, oh my fucking God, they're going crazy. I love the match. I love the match. And I think that was the point where I was like, yep, 5 stars. And then, they probably went another 3, 4, 5 minutes after that. But yeah, it was an incredible match. And, the
Grove is here.
This is what this company has to offer for Will Ospreay here. That
turnbuckle brain buster.
Yeah, that was crazy because obviously he was trying to spike him. He wasn't trying to, drop him in
backbreaker
and rash him down his backside. But yeah, it's a great match. It's a great match. For me, it's the match of the year so far. And, I'm interested. I love to see like what he has planned for the year. Like I saw, I've seen some people say like he needs to be the champion like by Wembley, and I'm just like, slow down, player. I got a plan for you. You put him. My plan is, how I envision it is, you have him in contention to try to get the belt for Wembley. He falls short via Callis screwing him out of whatever qualifier or whatever else to get the match. Then he has whatever match he has to finally beat up Callis or get his vengeance on Callis or whatever else. And then in front of the Wembley fans, he says, next year I will win this fucking title in front of y'all. And then you do it the next year. You can't just give him the belt 6 weeks in or 6 months in, but you build it over 18 months and that will be a legendary thing.
That could be like a story of the promotion. Like,
that's what I'm getting at. Like this is too soon. Like you build it over a whole year or whatever else, where he only fails, and by failing, he got screwed or whatever else. Yeah, you set him on that path, and that gives him time to actually build roots with and build rivals amongst the company, as opposed to he's just a champion immediately, and then you got to figure it out after that. Like, nah, that's way too fast, way too soon. Let people fall in love with this guy that haven't already
yeah, because there's plenty of people that are kind of like, yo, what, that are not feeling your newer fans that are really invested in the guys that are already here, and it's like, all right, like James says, give them a reason to but I'm just here to let y'all know, when y'all hear this music, it's no fucking joke. It's real shit about to happen when he comes out, and it's been like this for a lot of years at this point.
I mean,
this guy has been the best wrestler in the world for a long time. I feel like if you ever compared Seth Rollins to him, you should jump off a fucking bridge. Don't
tell Seth to do that. Don't Seth. That's mean.
How about it now? And he's somebody that is so special. Like, he walks in and he changes your promotion. And my God, New Japan Pro Wrestling didn't see fit to push him at the top level, right? To push him as the fucking man, when obviously they could have. I don't think Tony Khan's going to make that mistake.
Yeah. If not for the weirdness around New Japan, it wouldn't have been a mistake made, because you tell me, what has been more fun? These Naito matches versus Sonata, or these Naito matches versus Ospreay the last 2 years? You know what I'm saying? Whatever.
Yeah, bro. He's something else. He's sensational. Got a match with Fletcher coming up Wednesday, and that's his guy. So right. What do you think is about to happen? You can unleash him on the rest of the roster. He should probably win the Continental Classic this year.
Either him or Okada.
Yeah. There's so many cool things you can do with him. And he can do it all. He can brawl. He can fly. He can wrestle technically if you want. You could probably put him in a tag. You can put him in a trios or whatever.
We've seen that. He had 2 of the best matches in the trios tournament 2 years ago.
Yep. It's yeah, man. This is the crowd took him like a superstar. I have no worry about this guy. He's call himself he's like coming off completely likable in a lot of his stuff, with the scrums and his interviews, and
he seems happy. He seems genuinely happy,
and he's got a heat magnet to work off of, like with the split from Callus or whatever.
Right.
This is a no-brainer. Konosuke Takeshita. Can I say a couple words about this gentleman?
Yeah, please do.
I saw it like in this guy the first time I ever wrestled him.
Wait, you wrestled Takeshita?
Saw him wrestle. Sorry,
I'm about to say how many stars you get out of you? So I think you get 3.5 out of you.
Look, Takeshita could get about 3 with me. Easy. Secret matches. They have it already. Closed circuit television. All the cameras off. Turn them off. But nah.
You went to that DDT seminar with him and Chris Brooks.
Yeah. I was making secret flights to Japan. But first time I ever saw this guy wrestle, I knew he was special. And these matches, Kenny Omega on pay-per-view, Ospreay, this guy's also a future champion if they want to, go that direction with him.
Yeah.
He's fucking sensational, man. Like when it comes to like being vertical, like he can get off his feet, he can beat you down. He's got some Claudio in him, but he's also got, it's like, all right, if I was to put like Brock Lesnar, Claudio, Okada, and like, I don't know, someone that can jump like like a young Brock Lesnar. Like if I put them all in a fucking blender, like it would be Konosuke Takeshita. Like this guy's, he's out of here, bro. He's out of here.
There's he's just, for his size and his height, he's just so explosive. I think that's the main thing about it, is like, it's not even necessarily about the moves he does that are so special, is that he does them with a crispness and a fast, like, and they're fast and they're smooth, and like, you just watch him and Ospreay here and you're just like, regardless of how good certain matches are, you can see the holes in people's games as far as, or weaknesses at certain points, right? Regardless if it's a great match or not, you can see holes in certain people's games. Like these people, I'm watching them wrestle, I'm like, these people are like, everything they do in the ring is perfect. There was a botch in this match as far as, him getting skinned, on what's supposed to be a spike brain buster on the top turnbuckle. They just rolled into the next thing. But like, there's just a smoothness to them that's just like, they're elite. Pardon the pun, but like they're elite. Like when you watch Kenny Omega, or you will watch Kota Ibushi or Okada, you just see like the movement, the fluidity, the crispness, like it's just there at a level that like you don't see that often. And you see those kind of gifted talents in the ring together, and they do their thing for, 21 minutes, 22 minutes, however long it was. It's a blast to watch. And then you throw in, the crazy shit that they were doing as far as, counter each other or fighting through big moves or whatever else. It was an awesome match. And, can't wait to see him do it again. Takeshita, like, I said this might have been like, as he first got his run at the beginning of 2022. He's having a match with Kingston or with Moxley or with Page, and I was like, hey man, like if they invest in this guy and they actually have a plan for him, like he could be like their Muta, like, or their Nakamura, where it's like, we have this guy, he's in, like, he will be synonymous with this company based off the run here, and whatever happens for him later in his career or whatever, like people will remember him 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now in his run in this American company, and it can be special. So, like, this is another part of that. So, you know, I'm hoping for all this with him. I mean, this is the future. This is the future. Like, we were always talking about, like, you know, post Danielson and Jericho and Moxley and Omega, like, what is AEW going to look like as far as a main event scene? And it's like, you know, we already had one answer for sure in Adam Page. MJF, when his head's on right, is the answer, can be an answer. But, like, with Takeshita and Ospreay and Okada come in, like, those are the answers. And, like, it's going to be a fucking blast these next 4 or 5 years unless something bad happens. Or something unforeseen or something uncalled for happens. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, man.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Swerve Strickland. Jesus Christ. This fucking company's loaded.
Yeah. You know, the most over wrestler of 2023.
Right.
Yeah. Him.
I forgot about that guy. The future, a guy that's most likely going to be the next champion. Jesus Christ.
Oh, man. Incredible match. Can't recommend it enough. 22 minutes. Just like, man, just thank you. Whoever just was like, yeah, man, let's put Ospreay and Takeshita together, because they were supposed to wrestle last year at Supercard of Honor, but Will was hurt, so he couldn't do it. Right, but blessing in disguise. We didn't need to waste that on Supercard of Honor last year. Right here, Revolution 2024. Yeah, man. AEW World Championship match, 3-way match, Samoa Joe, Hangman Page, and Swerve Strickland. They had a fucking challenge on their hands.
Yeah.
And it took them a couple minutes, I think, in the beginning. But when they started unleashing, you know, the artillery and the moves on each other, I think the crowd immediately snapped into this. And I think Hangman Page was like the star of the show here. Like, even with, like, you know, the beating up of the referees and stuff like that, I thought added to the match, because it was like, obviously there's no rules in 3-ways and stuff like that. And I think it really cemented to people that if they didn't get it before, he's a heel now. And
Swerve's a good guy, yes.
Yeah, the prediction that I kind of made last week was like, yo, what if he taps out? Because, like, he's like, all right, I'm dead to rights. I'll just keep it away from Swerve. And that's kind of like the vibe that I got around the finish.
It's less dastardly, whereas, like, you were like, I think in your version, or what you predicted, is more like, he is going to, like, Swerve is like a house of fire. He somehow gets thrown out the ring or whatever else. He gets put in some type of choke or whatever else. He sees Swerve is about to, like, stop it, and then potentially set up the next chance for him to win. And then he just says, you know what? Fuck you, tap out, and then smiles on the way out. So, like, you're close. Like, it's really, really close to what you said. Cause it's about the same thing, where it's like Swerve, like, has a chance wants to get back in the ring, and ultimately, like, Page taps out, and he's like, I couldn't be there to stop from happening. And, like, Page is, like, fully cemented, like, the heel turn, because, like, the whole story of the match is, like, he, you know, ref pull, beat up refs, all that kind of stuff. And then, like, you know, Nana gives Swerve the head gimmick to use as he used in the past, and he puts it away. Like, this is, like, we have now fully, if you haven't gotten it yet with everything, like, it's over now. Like, it's completely switched over. It's completely switched over, and, like, I think they've done it very, very, very well. They've communicated this very well over the you know, the past month. All of this, and, like, you know, it continues their story. Joe gets a title. He gets to beat a guy, a top guy in the company, and put him away cleanly in a way. And, like, it keeps Joe to where, like, he gets to move on, but, like, he can come back to this, and Swerve can, you know, can get another shot at this, in a more clean way. So yeah, I've enjoyed this. I don't know where all three go from here necessarily, other than, obviously, you know, they're not done with Swerve and Hangman, but, this is really good. This is really good. Obviously, you know, can't follow that match. They had to follow, but it was great.
Yeah, I thought, like, as good, they delivered, like, about as good as you could ask in this spot, like, between fucking Sting and then that Takeshita and Ospreay match. Like, I thought Joe, you know, acquitted himself pretty well. He was kind of like the third wheel, kind of in this whole thing.
He very much was third wheel. There was a spot. There was like a spot in the match where like it seemed like they just threw his ass out or laid him out, and he just there to break up pins like every 2 minutes.
I thought Swerve's gear was so hard between Swerve and Ospreay, bro. Like I didn't ask Swerve how much was spent on the gear or anything, but that was probably one of my favorite gears that he ever had on. He had the double sleeves on, had that shit on for sure. As far as like where these guys go, Joe probably looking at Wardlow at Big Business, I would assume. Hangman, time off, maybe.
Oh,
the whole deal with the referees beat down, that looks like a cover, to provide a suspension. And then, Swerve didn't get pinned, so he's lurking right there, I would imagine, still kind of near the top of the rankings. AEW Dynasty just got announced. Oh my God, that is horrifying.
I forgot to change it for the
page picture.
Yeah, man, cause let's get it. Yeah, man, like this man is broken. Like big pressure was applied, and look how this man is acting. Like pressure burst pipes are crazy diamonds, and right now that man looking like a damn pipe that needs to be changed out. He had lost his mind. He is in full crazed mode. Like he look like he is like if this were not just on TNT, but it was on HBO, like the Heyman might be out here saying slurs the way Swerve got that man behaving right now. Like this man look like white resentment right now. He looks like white resentment.
He look like he has a threat to be replaced.
Yeah. That man said in this promo that this picture is from right now. He said, "I would rather die than let this man be the champion." And he said this shit twice. Bro, I gotta tell you, man, real hate is back and it's beautiful. Real hate in wrestling is back and it's beautiful. This is great. This is why rivalries matter, man. We don't really have rivalries in that way.
It's great.
This special is great.
So I think Swerve is still headed for Joe. We'll see what that AEW Dynasty main event looks like. Joe can get through Wardlow. You got to put this guy away. Every 3-way this guy's in, he's the one not getting pinned. So something's up. Something's up. It could have been here. It wasn't. But yeah, man.
I didn't say nothing about people keep saying I'm saying QAnon Page. I didn't say anything about Page saying he need to protect the children. I'm just saying this man, there's a resentment of this black man. That's all. This man has seen a black man shine on his watch, and he does not know how to handle it.
For it.
He's handling it very poorly right now. Very poorly. Look at him. That like someone is handling this well. Look at this guy.
He is clearly disturbed.
Yes.
And then the main event, Tornado Tag Team match for the AEW World Tag Team Championship match. Sting and Darby Allin versus the Young Bucks. A motherfucking masterpiece. Just the pageantry, the fucking sick nature of this match, the shit that they did. The contrasting styles. Darby Allin himself determined to die for this. El Hijo del Stings 1 and 2. The Young Bucks, Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat. Bro, I saw people making this point on Twitter. It was like there were people that were crying. Like Matt Coon, of all people, about the Young Bucks being in this match. FTR would have been better. And it's like, I'm sorry, man. Those one-note players, this role wasn't for them, baby. It was for only one team. Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. There are people that think that this is the Bucks' finest hour that I talk to. And
this ain't even one of their 10 best matches. Get the fuck out of here, man.
I don't know if it was, their greatest match ever, right? But man, like, because we've seen these guys do some incredible shit. Like, just melt your mind, right? But man, the way they were able to work the crowd, the way they were able to use all the elements, and then like just bump all over, like this was like if you're casting a role, like it does not get better than this. Like what they did. Darby Allin's a fucking sicko.
Out of his mind.
Out of his mind. Lost it. As I mentioned, like the highlight package before the match, it was great. I didn't cry during any of this, but I was like really into it. I thought that this was the perfect audience for it. The crowd all night, you know, they basically saw, you know, they were on fire. Then they came down. Then it came back up with, you know, the all-time great matches they were saying, like with Ospreay and stuff like that. But it seemed like there was a feeling still that even with, you know, the good stuff they were saying, we're still waiting for one thing. We want Sting. Like, and Sting showed up and gave it to him. Like, I don't know of a legend that's ever gone out better than this. While other legends have had to, you know, record their matches and pre-tape them and air them at a later date, while they had to lose to people like Baron Corbin at the end, while they got kicked into retirement, while their last match will be in Saudi Arabia as they try to scrub that from the books and pretend it was at WrestleMania. Sting gets the ultimate. This was like all the stars.
So interesting you bring up the Shawn Michaels thing, because like Leah from Total Talk, we had her on last year and she was talking about how people hate the Young Bucks, and me and you both talking about, like, you know, just continuing to be like mystified why people hate the Young Bucks other than like they don't like their style. And then she mentioned the girl coded. And I think the reason why me and you never really like considered that is because, like, well, they're wrestling like Shawn Michaels, and Shawn Michaels was always girl coded too. You figured like a generation of people that grew up around this and realized that a lot of people's greatest wrestler ever from this era was also completely girl coded, which led to, you know, the glam rock look he had. The people, the way that the wrestlers in the business were talking about him, the older wrestlers were talking about him, the part where, like, you know, Brett, you know, said the whole thing about him barebacking his way to the top, to the main event or whatever. Like,
Girly magazine.
Yeah, the Playgirl thing. Like, I just kind of figured like over 30 years, people would have recognized all this with the Young Bucks, right? But not, because, you know, we're all just destined to fall into the same trappings of our predecessors, I guess. I don't know. But whatever. Young Bucks come out. Young Bucks come out there with those terrible fucking goatees. Nick.
In the robes?
The robes, which was fucking hilarious. I thought they were going to have like Ric Flair like stuff underneath, but they didn't. Thank you. They didn't do that. But they come out there with the terrible fucking goatees. Nick is holding his hair is holding on, like he will not be able to last as long as Sting did. Right, you can see he's thin at the top. He's holding on to it. I don't know what it's gonna be like when he's gonna be, how he's gonna be a young buck with you know, with a bald head. I don't know how it's gonna go, but whatever. And they are bumping around like the biggest doofuses in the world for this fucking guy, and getting, you know, ran into by his kids and Darby and everything. And like they're doing literally everything in this stunt match to make it work. And Darby, you know, fucking falling from the sky through some glass like a goddamn dummy, like a crackhead. Then, you know, then it's time for them to have to work one-on-one with Sting or whatever, or two-on-one with Sting, and like they're just, you know, they're just bouncing off this dude and, you know, doing a no. Sting does a new, so they just lay out everything perfectly for, like, Darby's gonna do his shit, Young Bucks do his thing. Give me what you have left, Sting, and we can make this thing a classic. And he absolutely went out there and did it. And I want to commend all four of them. It was just fun, and like for the Young Bucks and for Sting to go out that way to be like, hey, you know, in this business, because of this one, or because of the history of it, and because of one company, the legends always die at the end, right? They always get pinned, they always put on their back, they always tap out, they always get, embarrassed on the way out, and then you clap for them on the way out, or they go out sad after chasing, that perfect match, and they never knew when to get out at the right time, or they're broke and they have to keep coming back because of money issues or whatever else. And like, Sting was there for 3 years. They treated him like how we wish all legends would be treated. He didn't overstay his welcome. He wasn't overused. He was fun to be around. His interaction with him is gonna like leave an indelible mark on like Darby, and gonna make him, somebody to like gave him a rub, right? It's supposed to be like the guy that's like he's a Jeff Hardy Sting guy. It's like, he literally is Sting's greatest tag team partner now, right? He's gonna have that forever with him. And like, I just really enjoyed all this, and to see Sting off, and like to see the three faces of Sting of like Wolfpack Sting that we basically have seen for the most of the last, 25 years, in the Crow paint, and like Surfer Sting, and then he's come out to Seek and Destroy again. And I'm thinking more like I'm thinking of Sting, and I'm thinking like, you know what? I don't necessarily know if I love the pairing of Metallica Seek and Destroy with Sting. And then I think of it more as like, well, Metallica at its roots, back when that album was out, like they were a thrash metal band. That's a lot of, skateboarding. And it's like, well, surfing, skateboarding, it does fit in the way. I just never really thought of that connection. Like he's on the waves thrashing. It's like, okay, it works now. It clicked for me watching. It's like, it was just perfect, man. And like, there's another win for licensed music. Another win for it. Everything was perfect. It was perfect. Like, just great. Like the pictures of him, of his early days with Muta and in New Japan and everything, like it actually captured most of what you felt watching, Crockett Promotion Sting and WCW Sting. Obviously, he didn't have it. Like, obviously, there's a couple pictures they had of him with the belt, with a big old belt, but like, you got to see what the guy was in living color, like when I was a child, and he was at one point my favorite wrestler in the world, and I was really happy to see it. And I like I said, it started this, like, if you are someone that was a legendary wrestler, or if you are a legendary wrestler that had a part of your legendary run outside of WWE, or your legend was made outside WWE, you need to get the fuck out that company after you get as much money as you can out of them, and then go have your retirement tour, have Tony Khan do it. He just showed you that he can do it. He just showed you that's the best one we've ever seen. That was effectively a 3-year retirement tour. We didn't even know it was a 3-year retirement tour. It was amazing.
Yeah.
He cared for legends in a way that we always wished our legends were cared for, and literally, like, the hero is able to go home to his family not dead, and it's a happy ending.
It was like John Wayne. Like,
you were off to the sunset. Yes.
It was great, man. Like, you brought in people from his past throughout this whole thing. Like, Great Muta was there, Ricky Steamboat was there, like, just, at different times or whatever. He got to work with a lot of people that will forever, like, I was talking to, I said Swerve message today. I was like, yo, bro, you're in that Sting video package
at Wembley
now. Yeah, I was like, bro, you're there forever now. Like,
yeah.
Like, that's, who would have thought that, like Ricky Starks is like one of his best opponents in AEW.
Right.
Rich, just like a lot of people got to get in the ring with him, and like, that's cool.
When they showed, when they were showing him basically
Jericho,
watching his career, right? Watching his career, because Jericho. I mean, Sting made that save for Jericho, what, like a month ago, 2 months ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they show Sting, sitting down in the theater and he's watching, like, watch his career, watch his professional life flash for his eyes, right? And they showing like the AEW run, and you see that picture of when that random tag they did of Darby and Sting and Kingston and Moxley, and then they show the picture of Sting with his arms around Moxley and Kingston, throwing the two sweets. It was like, this is why AEW is cool. They throw them random ass tag match where the babyfaces win. So for a moment, so they can have that picture 3 or 2 years later, right? Like, If not, I mean, CM Punk posted a thing about Sting on his reel or whatever else, and showed him in the Sting face paint. Like, if not for how bad it went at the end, that would have been on there too. You know what I'm saying? Like, this was awesome. This is awesome. The whole 3-year thing was awesome. And for a lot of people, including myself, that watched Sting for 30, on and off for over 30 years, this was my favorite Sting run.
Same. And it's like to see the love that he got. Everyone don't get that. And, Flair was there. I thought that was important.
Yep.
And it was just, I don't even know, like, really what to say about it. Like, because it's like, we all know who Sting is. Like, we know what Sting means, to us. And it's just like, you see him wrap it up here. So many different opponents, people that he didn't even get to or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's just the icon. And I know it sounds cliche or whatever. That's his nickname, the icon, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, he's going to come back one day and he's going to randomly make an appearance, right?
Think so?
I don't think he's just gonna fade into the sunset or whatever, right? I think, whenever the fuck Darby Allin is the world champion or wins that shit,
fair enough.
Sting's gonna fucking show up or whatever. People are gonna go crazy. I want Sting to be in AEW in some form forever.
Same.
At this point, figure out a ambassador deal or something like that. And,
license deal,
Tony was talking about it. Whatever, he was really trying to get this man to get to Wembley. Like, give me 6 more months or whatever. But he
hey, true promoter.
He had mentioned,
say Tony Khan ain't no true promoter. All right.
Like, yeah, cool. He gets you to help draw. Sting's last UK match.
Can we get this shirt that I'm wearing right now? Can we get it with the Union Jack on it?
Yeah. But yeah, man, like this is this feels so much better than a lot of last matches, and it's crazy that he's done now. Like, it was could they have done like more along the way? Sure. Like, as far as like, the short term, hey, the last 3 months or whatever, right? But if you look at how James described it, it's like, this whole thing has been the last run. If you look at it like that, this thing gets more like incredible and impressive, like the more you look at it.
Right. I never thought of it in that way until after the show was over and I got a chance to decompress from like, wow, this was a great fucking show. This was a great match. I had expectations for the match, but it was like, I think they'll have a great match. I didn't think they're going to have, one of the more satisfying matches I've seen in a long time, right? To cap off, the happiest I've been with pro wrestling in a long time. And like, I just sat back and thought like, this basically was almost like a retirement tour, a 2-year or 3-year retirement tour. And he did a bunch of cool stuff. Russell, gave, guys a rub. He didn't have to, obviously he's past his prime. He's long past his prime. This ain't fucking 92 and he's in the Vader, but like, he still has stuff to give. He gave it. He still got crowds, standing at attention, losing their minds whenever he hulked up and started beating on his chest. And like, it worked for 3 years. No one got tired of it. And they were really, special with it. Like,
they want more.
3 years. He came in 2001, December 2021, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Or 2020, December 2020.
2020. Okay. So 21, 22, 23, and then so basically like in 3 years in change, he wrestled less than 10 times a year. I never really thought of it that way, but like, this was perfect. Like, they gave him time to be able to get himself together, do all the crazy shit that he was trying to follow behind with Darby, bad influence ass, the adult being influenced by the fucking kid. But whatever, like, yeah, it just worked. It worked. And, I'm so glad this happened. And like, I had no expectation for this. And it's worked out so much better than I ever could have imagined.
A lot of people were,
we started this when like Sting's coming in and people were like, oh my God, is he going to be the world champion and shit in a few months?
Just like a lot of people were casting like a lot of bad faith shit on it, and hoping it would not go the way it went, hoping Sting would end up embarrassing himself or getting hurt, and to point the finger at AEW, here, this is what you did to our Sting. Like, all that shit was out there. We know the bullshit that was there, but I just want, unfortunately, we'll never know what could have went wrong. We'll never know because it didn't. Yep. And it was like, yeah, man.
And this happened, and he comes in, and he's coming in during the fucking pandemic.
Right. Yeah, man. This guy is special, man. Like,
yeah. This is about to happen. I think this, outside of all in 2021, this is the happiest I think I've ever been with AEW. Which is saying something.
Let's go into these questions, man. So Zach Maki says, are you getting tape decks ready? Do you think Big CM is giving Hangman his props, or is he still in his feelings like Beans is? I guess as far as, everything that Hangman's doing, I don't think so. I don't think CM Punk's thinking about Adam Page anymore. Doesn't have to, worry about him really. And hopefully he's just worried about getting his arm right until the next thing breaks. But
yeah, look, he said what he said about him being empty-headed dumb fuck. We mocked that. I think I mocked that like a week ago or whatever else. It's like, okay, whatever, man. But yeah, like, Page is great, and he's been great for a while now.
Yeah, like another level. Like, like we talk about, like him on the list of best guys in the world. Like, their abilities to tell stories within the ring. Yeah. Like, he came up under all the right masters, and he's grown into a master himself.
Yeah, and like, don't get me wrong, like the beginning of his character and him being so wishy-washy as, like, I still don't love him as a babyface. Like, he's not John Moxley to me when he's a babyface or whatever else, because he's just kind of just, he can go into these slumps of just being like uninspiring to me. But right now, he's been cooking for like over half a year now, and he was cooking during Moxley earlier last year too. So
yeah. So. Black Sabre Jr. coming through. He said, where does Takeshita versus Ospreay rank on all-time matches in AEW history? Right at the top.
Okay, so do you want to go singles matches?
Sure.
Is that the best singles match in AEW history? I think. Is there anything I'm missing?
Close,
whoa, number 2.
Omega
Ospreay is the only thing I can think that'd be better as a
Swerve Hangman death match, but
okay. Regular rules. I'm not including the fucking blood porn. Like, but maybe I should have specified that. My bad. But yeah, I think for a regular rule singles match, I think the only thing that's better will be Hangman. I'm sorry, it will be Ospreay in Omega 2. Yeah.
Speaking of bomb,
then you start getting into like the Young Bucks and Omega and Page, or you start getting to like the Lucha Bros
Bucks
cage match with the Bucks. It's like, all right, I got those above that, but this was still a great match. Great match. Best match I've seen this year.
Speaking of bomb ass Revolution matches, do you think we'll see a match better than the Revolution 2020 Elite Tag match? God damn it, Black Sabre Jr. boxing us in to these tough positions. Okay. I hope we see a match better, right? Let's say that. But if we don't, that was a high fucking bar.
I don't think I've seen a better match since then.
I think it's the greatest tag match I've ever seen, for one. And then like I think it literally defines the promotion. Like, that's
I think the only match.
It's hard to be better than that match because it's just.
I think the only other match I would say that I would think is better than that match since I've watched it would be 2 years ago's well, not 2 years ago, like the first Ospreay Omega match from Wrestle Kingdom from last year. But that's it. Like I think those are the two that come to mind as like that's the best match I've seen in 4 years.
Slash size, absolutely not. Number 3, who do you think beats Eddie for the Triple Crown? Okada?
I could see that.
Maybe?
I could see that. I'm not sure though. I'm not sure. I would like to see what he has next online because he's been around like the Claudio and Moxley and Danielson thing for pretty much since what you call that since Grand Slam, just about like as far as like a actual like focused storyline. That's kind of been what he's been into. Yeah. So once he gets past this, I like to see what he's into. But I don't really have anything in mind for him yet. But Okada would be a good answer.
Lastly, how in the hell does Darby do all that shit and still get up as if nothing happens? Is he a secret perk consumer? Is it the energy of being a golf nigga? Or does he do it all for the love of the game? I think Darby just does this for the love of the game because this man's about to climb Everest and, like Darby's get down is like shoot pellet guns at me for to make me feel something because I don't drink, I don't do drugs, whatever. So he got to feel something some way. He's wild.
I saw a clip of him and Gigi Dolan saying that I think their first date or their first time they ever hung out with each other.
Shit.
Darby Allin ran hot sauce across his asshole to impress her. We are talking about someone totally different than anybody you've ever met before as far as their thought process or how they handle things or their process anything. Dude different. He's
somewhere else.
Yeah. Dude totally different. I don't know what it is, but it's from over there. Way over there. Foul territory.
King Dom says, "Who would be Dr. Umar's
Brewhaven,
favorite?"
you gotta control yourself. You gotta get the fuck together. you couldn't get that out of me. I would, let alone someone like volunteering that. Nah, man, get together.
King Dom says, "Who would be Dr. Umar's favorite wrestlers and least favorite wrestlers?"
Who would be Dr. Umar's favorite wrestlers?
Yeah.
I mean, Farouk Hassan,
he would love
probably.
He would love Farouk for sure.
Right?
Except he might not because the original
Second Nation.
The Second Nation. He wouldn't have got down with that First Nation.
Right.
He would not have liked Akeem.
Oh, absolutely not. Definitely not.
He would not have liked Made in America Lex Luger. I don't think. I don't think he liked Cody Rhodes.
Right. He wouldn't like Surfer Sting either.
No.
Yeah,
no.
That's something I also mentioned. Like I forgot to mention. Like there was always this talk of like, how would Sting have worked out in WWE if he had ever made a transfer? It was just like, well, there's a guy that's like a lesser version of Sting right now that's on top as babyface and is going fucking splendidly. So there you go. A guy wrapping himself around an American flag. It has bleached blonde hair and is charismatic. It's going pretty well. It's going pretty fucking well. And it's also like has good size, but isn't like a hulking monster. Yeah. For his era. Yeah. It's going pretty fucking well for that knockoff Sting right now.
Think Dr. Umar would have liked Ahmed Johnson.
Now, my question is, like, now that we've mentioned Farouk and we've mentioned Ahmad Johnson, like, I don't think he would have enjoyed that program those two had. They're arguing over who was the actual Uncle Tom in front of these white people. I don't think he would have enjoyed that.
I don't think he would have got with that.
Yeah.
He would have liked Harlem Heat, but he would have been like, why these brothers lying about where they from?
Yeah,
I don't think he wouldn't have liked that.
Yeah. Slash says Hobbs would have been his favorite. Well, I don't know because I don't know how Powerhouse Hobbs' dating life works out.
True.
I think it'd be controversial to Dr. Omar. I'm not sure.
Dr. Umar would not have liked Harley Race.
No.
Who else? He would not have liked Triple H
Or JBL.
JBL on any of them.
Or Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan. Next question from King Dom also. With Sting and Flair having retirement matches, do you guys think Hulk Hogan tries to get himself a retirement match? I mean,
we haven't done that before.
Might. He might try it in the Fed. I thought he was going to try to be a surprise in the Royal Rumble this year.
Who actually wants to see
that? More people than you think.
Like, how old is Hogan now? 60 what?
He's got to be 70 now.
Or
like 68, 69, something like that.
Yeah, he's in his late 60s, I thought.
Yeah, he up there with the red light.
Nah, man. Nah.
Thoughts on the upcoming Fall Off project by J. Cole. Overall thoughts on J. Cole. I think he's the best rapper in the game right now. And I think that preview he just dropped, he's getting better while everybody else is chilling and not figuring it out. Like, and while streaming is eating them up, and like the pressure to be commercialized in Drake's case, and then Kendrick Lamar has fallen back too much and is not quite the same as he was. Cole is like took the slow but steady. Like, I think he's surpassed them both, like, you know, skill wise and obviously what he's saying. And I think the Fall Off project is going to be like, he had a line on that new song where he's like, imagine if Ho put out Reasonable Doubt last. Like, that's like he said this shit was going to be. So like,
so Cole out here selling dope now?
Who knows?
I mean, he's putting out Reasonable Doubt last. I mean, do you not remember the subject matter of that album?
But yeah, I think Cole's the best rapper right now. When he comes on, shit's just different. And guys now can, I think, rap longer and about things and not fall off, ironically, as he calls it, to fall off. It's not like, yeah, bro, you're 29, you're 35, you should get the fuck out of here. Like, I don't think it's like that anymore.
Right. I mean, now, at this point, we have power brokers. And it's another part of, like the stars are, I don't know if you noticed this, but, like, the stars stay the stars now, longer now. In all of music. Like, they had their fandom. Like, Taylor Swift is going to be as popular, and Drake are going to be as popular as they are right now 5 years from now. Or at least, like, as like, making, when it comes to making money and touring, they'll just rake it in because, like, they're sharks. And, like, the time where people could, you know, like, the number of people that can actually, like, go on tour in arenas are smaller than it's ever been. But, like, stadiums, I don't think there's ever been a time where there's more people that can sell out actual, like, stadiums with, you know, over 50,000 people in it.
King
and
Dom
charge
says,
that kind of money for it too. That's another crazy part about it.
Yes, and no pay.
Yeah.
King Dom says, can Takesha Ospreay be the next generation's Okada Omega? I've been saying that for like a year. Should AEW run more big events in Greensboro, maybe in All Out? I don't know if we have any like real special connection to Greensboro. It was kind of like a thing for Sting. I feel like I probably wouldn't go back there for a while.
Yeah, it's not located in a great place. It's just not. Like, if you want to do that, then you may as well just run the Spectrum Arena in Charlotte then.
Best and worst wrestling matches that you guys have seen in person. Man, that's a tough one. Because I tend not to remember bad matches when I see them in person. Same.
So, like, the answer would probably be something from, like, one of those, like, 2015 Shine shows on Undercard, but I don't remember.
Oh, my God.
But, like, the best match I've seen in person, I've seen, 3 matches that will be considered 5 stars in person, I think. So, I've seen Gargano and Cole and NXT TakeOver New York. I saw Julia and Shuri in Japan 2 years ago with a title change. And then I saw the first Omega Ospreay. So Omega Ospreay is the best match I've seen in person.
I don't know. What the best match I've seen in person is. Honestly, I'm not sure, man. Like, I've seen a lot of wrestling.
Exactly. Like, you've seen, like, there's so many great matches that we've
like. I can just name a random match. Yeah, I saw Will Ospreay versus Bandito one time in person. Like,
yeah, that was 2019 at the WrestleCon Super Show. I got a clip of that on my Instagram.
Yep. Jay White versus Okada in the Garden is up there.
Yep.
The Bucks versus John Moxley and Eddie Kingston. That's another one for me.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were there for that. That was in Jacksonville, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
As far as worst matches I've seen in person is probably some shit on an indie show that like you yeah. We don't want to sell. I don't want to
like some
bad memories.
Yeah, or some shit that was on like the Largo Loop in NXT or something. Right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I can't remember. I've seen a lot of bad matches.
Yeah. Favorite Sting matches, feuds, and moments of all time. Kind of did a little of that earlier, but I definitely love when he whoops the NWO's ass. Uncensored 97. There's another clip that's going around too, where he gets in the ring, drops the bat, and then just beats the asses like with these.
Yeah.
I like Vader versus Sting as well.
Yeah.
In 92, Vader just fucking like killed when Sting's wearing the white.
Yeah.
That's great. I think Sting and Ming is fucking hilarious in 95. The entire AEW run, like, fuck it. What else we got? As far as feuds, obviously Sting and Ric Flair. It might have been like, you know, even the promo Flair cut, like before the last match on Nitro, it was like, Stinger, like you want to be the man, you gotta beat the man. I'll give you one last opportunity, even though he's beat him like a fucking, you know, a million times. I'll give you one last opportunity to be the man or whatever it did. You know, the last Nitro is, you know, it's a farewell or whatever. But yeah, man, Sting rules, man. Like, he's just like, has a cool wrestling style, cool gimmick, enthusiastic promos. You know, he played a heel, you know, a time or two, but you know, we knew what it was at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't have much for people outside of like the things people know, like the Flair and Sting stuff and the Sting and Vader stuff. From like the, I don't know, was it from the early 90s, basically like 92, 93. Was obviously Sting and Flair goes back even further than that, but like I think 92, 93 Sting is like the best Sting as far as in ring stuff, and you know that weird era of post Jim Herd into Watts.
Mm-hmm. King of the North says, with Izumi, Mina Shirakawa, Mayu Iwatani, and Starlight Kid coming to the U.S. for New Japan or Spark Joshi, who would you book them for a one shot in AEW or ROH against?
So for Izumi, I'm like almost like jokingly, like, you know, sometimes I'll type out something on a tweet or whatever else, not press send it, just like screenshot it and send it to y'all. So like I was going to at Excalibur and say Izumi versus Riho, and say, hey, like Izumi was chasing after the Stardom High Speed title. While Riho was the AEW World Champion, she also collected that in a throwaway match. She collected that, and then Riho lost that belt in a throwaway match that Izumi won it in, where Izumi never got the pin, and Izumi never actually beat Riho in a match, as you know, Izumi was chasing after that high speed title since 2008, the end of 2018. And now this is like for high speed superiority. And then they basically have a high speed match and blow the fucking doors down in front of this crowd who's never seen high speed wrestling. So for Izumi, obviously I would have picked Riho. Starlight Kid, I'd probably say Riho for the same exact reason. The story's different, but like the person that lost that pin was Starlight Kid, who was also tagging with Riho at times. I think they were in a tag league together in 2019, I think. Anyway, so you have that story. Like, you have a high-speed match for Riho, for Starlight Kid or Azumi. Me and Shirakawa,
she got to do Mariah, right?
that would make sense. That would make sense for easily to do or whatever. Mariah doesn't seem like she has that many. I think she had her second match this weekend, right? Or this past weekend. Yeah. I think once you get her into gear, because that's a month from now, I think so. You could do that. Obviously, Mayu. I mean, you could do Sheeta. You could do Mercedes. Yeah. You know, Mercedes being the one that comes on mind because she beat her in the first match. You could have her get her win back. Yeah, Mercedes get her win back. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably say her or Sheeta. King Dom, what's the direction for Darby after last night's pay-per-view? Long road to the championship. Like, not the next champ. Like, not the next champion, but down the road, like, you know, we're talking about somebody that, you know, maybe he has a longer road than Ospreay even, but I don't know. Like, he's...
The thing for me is that, like, for Darby, regardless of if he's ever champion or not, he cannot be champion long. Like, was he $150? Like,
maybe.
Regardless of how much I like him, how great of a storyteller I think he is, there are going to be people that just will see him in the ring and they just will not be able to buy it for long. So if you make it to where, like, it's a 3-month thing, 4-month thing, fine. That's perfectly fine. Like, there are people that are able to, quote unquote, luck into the title and then lose it. Like, he's a transitional champion. It saves you from some big match, down the line that you have or whatever. So that's fine.
Darby's like, he's I think he's somebody that you can always, like, stick people with.
Yeah.
He might be like an Undertaker type role. Like, as far as, like, not the champion, but you go fuck with Darby and would do some shit over there with him. And then when it's time to move Darby over, you could do that, I think.
Okay.
What is next for the tag team division in AEW? I'm glad you asked. The tournament.
That team's been announced, or it was just said they're going to be a tournament because obviously the belts.
It was just said there's going to be a tournament. So he says, where does Kenny Omega fit in when he returns? Wherever.
I mean, he has to do whatever with Callis, and if that works into him, have some type of alliance with Ospreay and squashing the beef, cool. But yeah, like they're still, like, the Callis thing is still around for that reason. Otherwise, there'd be no point in it.
Yeah, there's that, or Kazuchika Okada. Like,
yeah, but they can do that whenever.
Yeah,
like they can just throw it, like, obviously because he's been gone since the end of last year. Wembley's in August. They can, like, Ospreay can literally show up in after 4th of July, and then the coin drops, and you can just. They can go face to face, and then they can cut the screen, or they pan it towards the sign, and that's it. Like, that's all they have to do. They don't have to do much at all because this company exists because of that match, in part, right? You know what I mean?
They could do him and Danielson finally get a winner.
Yep,
that rematch is years in the making.
Was that match supposed to be on last year's or no? What was the match? Yeah, okay, there it is.
It was supposed to be that last year. How big is the gap between Will Ospreay and Jay White? Okay. Let's say this.
In a vacuum? Did they answer? Like, or they just asked you, or were you supposed to answer?
Okay, I'll just say this. When the first time we ever seen Jay White in AEW, he debuted in a vignette backstage with his jacket, and then he did a run-in with looking like he just finished coming from the gym somewhere. The first time Will Ospreay came in, he also came in with a run-in, but from there was presented like a god of wrestling. We can go back to 2019. This gap has been there their whole careers, kind of. Like,
since he came off Excursion.
Yeah, like Jay White got a push. Whatever.
Right.
but Will has always been the fucking guy. Like out of those two,
right? Like
it's very big.
Look, this isn't some slight against Jay White because I think Jay White is great, and I think Jay White in AEW has done like his work that I've enjoyed the most has been he in AEW compared to his New Japan run, the Bullet Club shit, all that. Like I've enjoyed. He has made himself very valuable on that Saturday show. That's a fucking show for fucking problematics over there, right? Or in theory, was when it was built, right? And he's gotten bad set of cards dealt with CM Punk imploding and all that kind of stuff on his way out of the company, right? That being said, Will Ospreay is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Jay White is just great. I don't mean that to be rude. Jay White is one of the best wrestlers, is going to be one of the best wrestlers of this era, while Will Ospreay is, barring injury, he's likely going to be the best wrestler of this era. So, this kind of says, I feel like you almost asked me, what is the gap between, LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony or some shit like that? It's like... They make they both came in the same draft class in theory, but it's like, nah, somebody is destined for something totally different. And that's no knock against Carmelo, but it's totally different.
What's the ceiling for Jack Perry in New Japan Pro Wrestling?
What's the what?
So what's the ceiling for Jack Perry in New Japan Pro Wrestling?
I think title challenger.
I was gonna say he's already challenged for the IWGP once.
I meant actually over there, not on the fucking third from the top, fourth and top, and been door.
He can make the semifinals of the G1 or something, or he can win the global for sure. As far as the actual belt, I don't think he can win the actual belt, but he could challenge. King of the North.
I forgot that white belt is the GHC. I was about to say Noah. What? I forgot that they did that.
Nah, the global. Yeah,
it's nasty.
Yeah. King of the North said, "How would you debut Soberano Jr. in his mink jacket in AEW? Who should he face? Someone like Dante Martin comes to mind for me. Sure.
What's the rule? No Mexican wrestlers can be on when CMLL wrestlers are on, right?
No AAA wrestlers can be on when CMLL guys are on.
I thought it was also Mexicans too. All Mexicans.
No,
I thought that had, okay. That was just a joke.
That was some bullshit.
Okay. Fair enough.
Some Conan shit.
Okay. Who do I want him to wrestle? Who do I want to see him wrestle? Fuck it, put him under Orange Cassidy.
Sure.
Yeah. I would like to see someone beat him, but I don't know. Orange Cassidy don't really be doing too much losing these days. So I don't know. You got to beat that. You got to hit him with a Mack truck, and then he might lose. Yeah, but Silverado's raw. I've only seen him a few times. He's fucking raw. So.
Rainbow Slam Pig, can you think of a better run of matches at a show than the final three from Revolution? I feel like when you. Yeah, I was when you ask these kind of questions, you can probably pick your standard all-time greatest Wrestle Kingdoms. Dominion 2018, I think you got to always talk about. Yeah. As far as being better, I don't know, because a lot of that's subjective. I think the better question is it in the conversation? I feel like this would stand up with something like a Dominion 2018, something like Wrestle Kingdom 11 or 13. Stuff like that. 9.
All right, so let's see. What was the closing stretch of Wrestle Kingdom? What was it? Wrestle Kingdom 14. Let's see. Yeah, Wrestle Kingdom 14. Is that the one I think? Yeah, it is. All right, here we go. Final closing stretch. Hiromu Takahashi versus Will Ospreay for the juniors title.
Mm-hmm.
One of the greatest matches I've ever seen. Then you end up getting Naito and Jay White, which is a disappointing 4.5-star match. And then
I remember not liking that match. Yeah,
same. And then you get Okada versus Ibushi, which is somehow one of Tinker's best matches I've ever seen too. Like they went, you know what I'm saying? Like they like you have stuff like that happen on Wrestle Kingdoms, man. So it's hard. Like I don't necessarily know if that's there for Revolution 2024, but the part where like you can actually like say it can compete is like that's very impressive. That is very impressive.
Sting's final match was just about perfect. Everyone involved deserves a lot of praise, including Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. Is this the springboard for them to get tag team gold again? It could be. I mean, you know, if they want to do it,
right? If they want the belts, they can have them. I mean, you know,
they haven't had them since 2000 or the middle of 2022 for like 2 weeks. So
yeah.
I think it would be good to do with their character. Like it would be good for them to do that, and then you know pick somebody
and then when they
drop
have
them to.
Yeah, and then when they have the belts, they can like start start kicking Cody Rhodes about we the EVPs with the belts, and we challenged multiple times, and we didn't box ourselves out of. We lose, we never get them again, and have to leave the fucking company and go over there, right? So there's still that there. So yeah, like they must get whenever. Them having that match was big, and like there's still stuff on the table. FTR, BCC right now. Lucha Bros are like they're on the way back. So yeah, there's some stuff. O'Reilly and Roddy might be potentially back together. So yeah, there's it seems like they're starting to get together, and like I can't wait for the tag team wrestling to get back popping.
Yeah. J. Antonio Teodoro with the top of the card very clearly occupied by the real graps on display across the Triple Crown International, Takeshita Ospreay, and the world title matches. Mm-hmm. Which upper mid carders need to grab the tag rope?
Oh, I mean, Jericho.
Wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah, like Let's Gods is on the table whenever they want to do it. It's there. It's perfect. That's one.
Ricky, I mean, kind of already grabbed it.
He was just tag champion, so yeah, I mean, they already did that. I don't know who you place with Wardlow though, but yeah, he would make sense in the tag division if this doesn't work out again. Nick Wayne, or I mean, honestly, Christian post his title reign. Like if you do Christian and Nick Wayne, that makes it all sense in the world.
Yep. I see people in the comments naming House of Black members, but like
they're already in a tag team.
I wouldn't even like waste time. Like
he's already like needs to hold a tag. They're already in a tag team. Like Malachi had his first non-tag match in like a year or some shit.
Adam Cole, he needs to grab a tag rope.
Well, bro, I don't know if he can wrestle again. Can he?
When he comes back,
Rich,
let's keep him on a minutes restriction.
Rich,
you can watch half the match.
Rich, he landed. He hurt his ankle landing off of like a 5-foot platform.
Adam Cole got to grab a weight first. Hold
on. He fucked up his ankle jumping off a vertical ramp that's 5 feet off the ground at most, and that probably 4 feet off the ground. And that was in September. We are now in February. Have we seen him walk around without crutches?
No. He came on a wheelchair last night.
Granted, that could be a gimmick. Who knows? But it's been 5 months. And he did not tear his ACL or some shit. And even if he did, he'd be walking outside of something, after that amount of time, right? I don't know how bad his situation is. Maybe it's just a gimmick to keep up the whole thing. Maybe he's like, next time we see him, he gets up and kicks someone in, hit someone with the super kick. Keith Lee? Yep.
Keith Lee.
Yep. Who else am I thinking of? If Keith Lee comes back, of course. I don't know what the situation is, but I don't think we've heard of him since Year's End thing went into the trash, right? Yeah, I can't think of anybody else when it comes to
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, there's a few people, obviously, but it's a big ass roster.
Yeah. Flossie Ogawa, MJ does PR. Rank the 3 hardest fits of the night. Also, let me know who wore it the best. And he's talking about Roderick Strong showing up with that Ren Narita like cape on and shit. That shit looked absurd.
Oh my God. Okay.
So as far as who had that shit on, Will Ospreay, Swerve, and
I mean, it's
I'm trying to think.
I like Takeshi in the Oni mask, but that might just be a me thing. I mean,
Daniel Garcia. I like the pants. I gotta say,
Sting's oldest in the Surfer Sting gear because like Surfer Sting always had that shit on. That shit was bedazzled and all that. That like Sting came like. Lil Sting came out with the Surfer Sting on, and then folks started popping as if Sting was gonna come out wearing the Stinger gear, and he had dyed his hair back blonde. Like, no, that's his son, you Nimrods. No, Sting has not turned back the time in 25 years. Get the fuck out of here, 35 years. No.
Deanna Purrazzo. I liked her gear.
She did have that shit on, yes. Yes.
Yeah. Let's see.
I mean, like Moxley and Claudio had that shit on too.
Yeah, with the spikes.
Where do you buy those?
Yeah. Sir Sam, he said, "Is it still the Muda scale? Or do we need to rename it the Allen scale, given that he bled from every pore of his body?"
Still the Muda scale because that man bled from his face. But yeah, it was bad. It wasn't terrible. I didn't think he was gonna die, but I was like, yeah, he's cut up all over the place. His whole back cut up.
So I was worried about him like hitting like an artery or something. Like
I wasn't, because it was like that glass that breaks. It doesn't like impale you.
Yeah,
I knew he was gonna get cut up, but I didn't know it was gonna be like he's gonna get basically like punctured in a million places at once. So I wasn't concerned about like him cutting his like kidney open or something. I think, or is it kidney? Yeah, one of his kidneys open. Yeah. I'm trying to think of anatomy. Sorry.
For time's sake, we're gonna edit a couple of these out. So some of the stuff we already kind of touched on. Okay. King Dom has given me one. Push one, demote one, release one. Sammy Guevara, Ricky Starks, Daniel Garcia.
Push, demote, and release.
Correct.
Garcia, Guevara, and Starks.
Same. Another one. Jay White, Adam Cole, MJF. I'm gonna push Jay White, demote MJF, and release Adam Cole.
I think I'm going to push Jay White. I'm going to demote Adam Cole, and I'm going to release MJF and let him go over there and have his Fed experiences over there at the place. Like, look, Shaboing Boing can get the fuck out. This is the clearest example that Shaboing Boing get the fuck out.
Push one, demote one, release one. Rollins, Reigns, and Moxley. I'll push Moxley, demote Reigns, release Rollins. That one feels pretty easy.
For AEW or just for any promotion you're running?
I would say any promotion, but
could I push Moxley and just say bye-bye to both of them?
Sure.
Like, as lame as Rollins has been, is like, I still enjoy him on pay-per-view month to month, as opposed to like, oh yeah, like every 3 months I have to watch this terrible fucking match. I'm over it, bro. I'm fucking over it. I'm just done.
Yo, he said diarrhea Dwayne on Raw tonight. Like, he's got to fucking go. Like, go home. Like, another one. Push, demote, release. 2015 Rollins, 2016 Omega, and 2019 Ospreay.
Rollins, get the fuck out. Anyway, what were the other two?
2016 Omega, 2019 Ospreay. I'm going to push Omega and then demote 2019 Ospreay. Just because 2016 Omega made him a bigger star than 2019 Osprey did.
I'm gonna go with that because Omega in 2016 was more of a character that you could hit the mic to and like get people to be compelled by compared to Osprey in 2019. Osprey didn't have that then. Like
2015, Rollins can jump off a bridge.
Yeah, he's irrelevant to this conversation. That's why I was like, let's get him out of here before, because they're not even comparable. Like, that's unfair what y'all did to Rollins.
Yeah. So
like 2019 Osprey is like one of the greatest years anyone's ever had in ring.
Question from Sarah. She says, "Who do you think wins the tag tournament, and who do you want to win the tag tournament?"
Oh, you know who I want. Moss and Big Swiss. Come on now.
I think the Bucks are going to win.
They could.
I don't want
There's
FTR to win.
Options. There's lots of good options.
I'm just gonna say I don't want FTR to win. I've seen people just randomly like put them around. I'm like, bro, we just fucking did that. Like, and we couldn't stop doing that. Like no. Like, get the fuck out of here. We don't want to do that.
I don't know who, but I know who I don't want to win this match.
Like, get the fuck out of here. I'm good. I promise. God. I am good. It's real funny, James. Like, everybody's talking about, the tag team division is going to shit, like, and all this shit. Well, who's been the fucking champions on and off for a year and a half?
Right.
Them niggas. Like, so, yeah. Question from @Terry'sBoy. What's next for your boy Swerve? Obviously, he'll get another chance, but with Wardlow set up as the next world title contender and Hangman taking time off, what does Swerve do heading into the next pay-per-view? I think he's going to fight the winner of Joe and Wardlow.
I can see that. Does Swerve need a tune-up match to like kind of requalify himself as a number one contender?
I would say so.
Does that mean he has to beat a name? Does it be like someone in the top 5?
I mean,
or do you think that's overkill? There are people already buy him as the next match.
That's a great idea. Slash size. That match just seems snake bitten.
Look, slash size.
It's snake bitten.
Look. I'm looking to the camera. We can't do Keith Lee versus Swerve because every time they ever go towards Keith Lee versus Swerve, something fucking bad happens, or something unforeseen happens, and they have to cancel
like lightning strikes or something.
Yeah, so like they just can't do it. I have wanted this match since they lost the tag team titles, and that was over a year and a half ago, I think. So obviously they've tried to do it. They tried to do it, and they teased that at the end of 2022. I went to Japan. I came back. They didn't do the match. Then they tried to do it at the end of 2023. Didn't happen. It's not a thing. It's a thing, but it's a thing as far as it's cursed. Don't even stay away from it.
Yeah.
Avoid it. They've had Swerve acknowledge it. Like, I'm done with it. Like, move on. Just move on. Like, if they do it, how about this? Make Swerve champion, then give Keith Lee a run as a challenger, and then do the match, right? Because then you'd be like, well, if whatever situation's going on or whatever's happening with hell, whatever else, they'll try to push it because it's a title match and it means a lot to both of them. But outside of that, whatever. Get out. Stay away from it. Get away from it. I don't. Keith Lee, does he have job-itis? Not for Swerve. I wouldn't think. But it's always like this weird health stuff that pops up with him. Like, he's not reliable to be healthy. And, like, we've had this conversation. It's funny because last time we had the conversation with, like, his fucker stay healthy was, like, Danielson. And then he's rolled off, like, the last, 4 months of incredible wrestling. Or 6 or 5 months of incredible wrestling. So, I don't know, man. Like, it happens with somebody. Sometimes people just have bad breaks that cluster on you. And it looks like, it'll never be the same again. And then sometimes people are able to straighten it out. We'll see.
As far as somebody that could face Swerve, that's kind of a tune-up. Trying to think. You could do Sammy Guevara. You could do. They
already did the Penta match, so they can't do that again.
I was gonna say Miro, but I was gonna say no, don't reward him. Ray Phoenix, bring him back. Let's go, Swerve Phoenix.
I mean, that match would be fucking incredible.
Let's do it.
But that's gonna match where it's like, do I want that to be do I want that match just like to be a one-off? Of course I do, but like, do I want the match or not? Like, obviously give me the match, but like, would I rather that match be like some like qualifier thing or whatever else? Throw little dash of stakes on it, a little dash of of intrigue. We'll see. I don't know.
Can Bandito reemerge from the wrist injury?
That's another one.
We get a little something.
That's one I would like to see too. Hell. How about this? Swerve into Takeshita.
Hey, send it up. Big business. Swerve into Takeshita.
Yeah.
Send it up. I think that's the one. Right there.
I mean, there's a bunch of great options. options. We got tons of talented wrestlers here, man.
Yep. Brandon Vincandia, who on the roster should consider looking elsewhere as the roster continues to intensify. You try to get some married people.
I mean, you want me to go?
Sure.
I mean, we are MJF, Ricky Starks. Not to say that Ricky Starks ain't doing good work, because he has been, but I think he's better suited in WWE. Let's see who else we got. I don't know if Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara both make it to a certain level at the same time in the same place. I think one of them might be better off going somewhere. But the thing is, I don't necessarily know if either one will do great elsewhere. I don't know.
Malachi Black and Buddy Murphy can get the stepping.
You don't like Buddy Murphy? Is it because of Malachi, or because I don't think Buddy Murphy's done anything wrong?
Not a fan.
Okay. Let's see.
Stuff I can't talk about on the air.
Okay. Let's see who else we got. I mean, there's a lot of people. The roster's overloaded, right? And like,
we already got Kenny Omega, yeah.
Let's see. Well, we don't have Kenny Omega right now.
That's true.
Yeah. So
he's here. He's here in spirit.
Sometimes you need, you need a backup key. You need a backup Kenny Omega when the first one can't make it. So yeah, I mean, it's a huge.
Miro should dip. Miro.
Should Archer be out too?
Yes. Matt Caster too.
Oh, I mean,
it's time.
I think Caster so
break it up.
I think Caster so long the thing for me that I've been like that goes without saying. I'd have been like, I mean, you look Billy Gunn, the Guns go that way. Archer rules, yes, he does. But the thing is, Archer in his role is redundant, given that like you already have a lot but we have like 3 guys that are big guys that do jobs. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking about for fitting roles, not necessarily like the talent. Like, I mean, everybody we're releasing is talented to some extent. Like we just got rid of freaking Buddy Murphy. Buddy Murphy have a 4-star match pretty much on command too. It's a roster full of like really good people, man. It's gonna happen. Like, let's see, where are we now? Like, look, for another example, right? What's Wheeler Yuta doing?
Yeah,
super talented, but what's he doing?
Like, it's
really easy to get lost out here.
It's like, where do you fight for, your real estate? Where do you fit in?
Oh, that's a good one. The Hardys, bye.
Oh yeah, the Hardys.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
It's time. Let's skip to this last question here. Skipped over a few, so if we didn't get your questions, I apologize, but
maybe next week.
Slash Thighs, here we go. He says, besides Darby and Eddie Kingston, are there other wrestlers that could end up being AEW lifers? I wouldn't marry yourself to anyone being lifers.
Same.
As far as, like, we just saw Kazuchika Okada leave New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, like, nothing is safe. Like, as far as, like, where you think someone is, where their destiny may lie, like, following the stories and thinking the stories are going to climax in a certain way, at this perfect lined up thing. I think the last, like, year has like shook the tree on that and be like, yo, there's not always unlimited time here. Other shit is going to get in the way of the perfectly booked wrestling world,
right,
or whatever. So, like, as far as people that are going to end up AEW lifers, I really couldn't call anyone, maybe except, Kenny Omega and the Bucks, maybe at this point. Even then, who knows? Next contract where they're like, what if they just want to do less even? And I don't know.
AEW had an EVP that was at the front of wearing suits and talking shit about WWE, and he is now currently and had a reality show with his wife on Turner. He is currently the top babyface in WWE right now. There are no such things as lifers. This is the pro wrestling business. These are just contracts. I can't call anybody a lifer.
Yep.
And as you mentioned, Kazuchika Okada is about to be all elite.
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
Look at the state of New Japan Pro Wrestling right now. Like,
hell, I got another example for you. If not for a fucking movie being made on her life right now, Mayu Iwatani would be out the door of Stardom. That's going on right now in this world. Okada is leaving New Japan and Mayu wants out of Stardom, but she's contractually held because there's a movie being made by Rabushi Road. That's where we are now.
Yeah, it's these are jobs at the end of the day.
Yep.
People work at, and it's cool that they either may take on additional roles or everything like that. But man, when somebody's, when it's time to pay somebody, or it's time for a tough decision to be made, because like Tony Khan's gonna, like, having this loaded roster like that, there's another side of that. It's like not everybody's gonna make it.
Right.
Somebody's going to be a little less over. Somebody's going to be...
And people will hit the transfer portal to find playing time. Yes.
Yeah. Like, you guys can look at the list. Like, you can spot people, like, when they're coming up. And I think people are on the way out of WWE still. And I think I've always said the future of WWE's future is in AEW right now. We just don't know who it is.
So Seamus X Nova said, you saying there's a chance that Tony Khan joins the Fed. Do you know what the worst thing could possibly happen to AEW? Would be like if they have to clear house. WWE has to clear house of, like, the whole administration regime that's stuck on even past Vince, that are connected to Vince, based on all this stuff. And they have to look around and be like, who's going to be our booker? Who's going to be controlling all that kind of stuff? And look around and be like, yeah, it'd probably be better for us to buy out WWE and then or absorb them for an exorbitant cost, and let Tony Khan run all of it, AEW and WWE. I don't think that's that far fetched. It's insane to think about this, but because
those lawsuits.
Nobody has.
Those lawsuits are like, they have debt and a lot of, like, lawsuits and shit. Like, it's not. Yeah, it's just like a part on a book. Like, they could, it could be
sell
sold
that shit right off, and who will buy it? Tony Khan. That's what I'm getting at, right? Like, it ain't too far fetched that Tony Khan's all some running both or all of it. That'd be a better way to say it, because there's so many, So Tony Khan would absolutely, if the opportunity presented itself, Tony Khan would absolutely, and the Khans would absolutely buy WWE. Absolutely.
We need Double J to finish the story. and by WWE.
What's the next question?
That's it.
Okay.
But yeah, man.
For the record, Tony Khan booking WWE, I think would be fucking awesome. Just I think we talked about this before on the show prior times, but I think it'd be fucking awesome.
Ole Anderson died. I don't really have too much to say about Ole Anderson, but Joe Lanza and Rich Cage did an excellent segment about it on Voice of Wrestling flagship. Definitely check that out. Rest in peace, Virgil. Virgil died this past week. Apparently, he was 10 years older than everybody thought.
A true worker.
To the end. I've met Virgil at least twice. Once in an official, meet and greet capacity. And then another time he was just walking on the streets randomly, like in Ybor or whatever, during WrestleMania weekend, talked to him real quick and all that. But there was actually a pretty good column by, I believe, Cal of The Ringer wrote about Virgil. Definitely check that out. What else we got? I had a rough day today. Can
I give you my experience of talking about the death of Ole Anderson?
Sure.
So one of the women that goes to the gym I go to is also a wrestling fan. She saw me wearing a wrestling shirt and was like, "Oh, you're a wrestling fan? I am too!" And it showed me a tattoo of Hulk Hogan and The Undertaker, and me and her talk about whatever happens in WWE from time to time. So she was like, she goes, "Yeah, Ole Anderson died." I was like, because we were talking about Virgil, actually. And she goes, I go, "Oh, yeah, that bigot Ole died." Roll, I roll. That's all I got on here. That's all I got for Ole. So, we can move on.
Ole Anderson and Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio is fucking hilarious. If you've never heard it.
What was it? What were they talking about?
Basically, Ole is like, "Why didn't you put me?" He was in a roundabout way saying your Hall of Fame is stupid, and then he was basically trying to.
It came back to he wasn't in it, so it's stupid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a lot. But then he talks about guys and drawing and anybody after 1980 couldn't work, all that shit. It's just. Oh, hater! Oh, you want to hear some good hating? Ole Anderson.
So no one born after 1980,
or if you debuted after 1980, you can't work.
I'm sorry, no one that debuted after 1980. I'm sorry. What year did Ole Anderson debut?
Ole Anderson was wrestling in the 70s and 60s and shit, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't know. All of a sudden, he was fucking. Oh, what's your boy's name? Oh my God, AWA, blonde hair, not Vern.
Bockwinkel.
Bockwinkel. I was like, all of a sudden he's Nick Bockwinkel. All of a sudden is a worker. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. But yeah, as I was saying, I had a rough day today. So this week, as you guys know, when my dad died back in September, I did a speech on here and I've got kind of a remixed version, extended version set up. And I'm actually going to be doing that this weekend. I'm flying to Massachusetts. I had a rough day today, kind of thinking about it all, but I just want to thank everybody for allowing me to share that with them last time. And, the feedback I got from it and the community at large that, we kind of built around this thing. It's just cool to be cared about. And, I got a tough weekend coming up, which should be fun, but difficult at others. But I'm going to see a lot of, my family and stuff like that. And I'll be back next week to pretty much give some of the experience. Won't be here Monday next week, but probably Tuesday. But yeah, so I'm going to go pay tribute to my dad the best way I can. And it's going to be hopefully a good time.
No, wish you best of luck, man, and support and all that. Yeah. there's no good transition. It's all this. Hey, we gonna end the show. That's it, show, y'all. Thanks for listening. If you are watching from the stream, you can go to our podcast link and go to the show notes and go to the Royal Circle link there and donate there. And be sure to listen to other shows on the network. Besides One Nation Radio, you have Keepin It Strong Style, All Things Elite, Amps WWE Adventure, Russell Art with Chris Things, Tumble Talk, and the Trish and Sarah Wrestling Podcast. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.